I'd like to take a few moments and talk to you about some certain diseases that are affecting our society even more so now than they ever have before. And there's a reason for that. And so I'd like to talk to you about dementia, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, ADHD, and maybe depression as well. You see, all those particular diseases really don't have any kind of cure for those problems. As a matter of fact, the only way to do it is regulating through some drugs and things of that nature, but it really doesn't really take care of the problem. There's a Dr. Perlmutter. He wrote this book called The Brain, and he's come to the conclusion, and not only him as a neurologist, medical doctor neurologist, but around the world we have found that what his findings are pretty online to what we can do to help prevent dementia, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, ADHD, and even depression. And I'll explain that right now. The book that he wrote, The Brain, is all about inflammation. Inflammation, even in Time magazine several years ago, was on the front page of what causing a lot of our diseases, that we have so much inflammation going through our body. And the biggest thing that Dr. Perlmutter was talking about was the brain itself is inflamed. And what that does, it causes basically a shrinkage of the brain. And when you have a shrinkage of the brain, well, all sorts of things are going to happen. Number one, it's not going to function like it's supposed to function. And number two is it'll end up with symptomology that are equal to that of what we were talking about: Alzheimer's, dementia, Parkinson's, things of those natures. Anything that's going to cause the nervous system not to be able to function as well as it should be. So he recommends that we have to get rid of sugar. And I have to agree with him. Sugar is number one thing that causes inflammation through our bodies. The number one thing. And the unfortunate thing is it's hard to get away from because of all the breads we eat, all the pastas we eat, all the starches that we eat, all turn to sugar. And then sugar becomes toxic in the body, and then toxins are built in or are stored into the fat. And our brain is quite fat, and so therefore it's filled with toxins, and it ends up with all these diseases that we're talking about. The other thing that we need to get rid of is gluten. Now you can get blood tested for gluten, and most of the doctors don't associate gluten with brain disorders. They only associate it with celiac disease. Well, that's old school. When you have inflammation here, you're going to have inflammation there. So therefore, we need to get rid of gluten. Oddly enough, we need to get rid of carbohydrates, at least the bad carbohydrates. Back in the early 90s, we were telling everybody, get off of fats, get off of fats, get off of fats, and get on more on carbohydrates. Well, what happened was the increase of diabetes has just soared in this country because we got off of fats. We need to put more good fats into our diet. Good fats, that's the key to the whole thing. So by doing so, getting good fats, getting rid of sugar, getting rid of the gluten, we're going to get rid of all that inflammation that's going on. And so it's quite important for the health of the human body. If the brain is not balanced out, then the rest of it cannot balance it out as well. Thank you very much.